Welcome everyone to Therapeutic Yoga this morning. We are going to have an entire class focusing on digestion. Now, that might seem like a strange thing. I could probably equally have highlighted this class as a spinal mobility class because a lot of times what aids digestion is also what helps spinal mobility, but we're going to focus on digestion today. So what I thought I would begin with is a quick little anatomy lesson about digestion, particularly for those of you that might have reflux or what's called GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disorder, because I'm going to actually begin with highlighting that first, but we're going to work through the entire digestive system, or at least most of it today. So obviously, if I could take away all of my superficial musculoskeletal layers as well as clothing, this is what I'm going to look like in between. So I'm going to kind of bring that in a little bit for you guys so that you can see that. And so what's really important to see about the digestive system is that there is a really cool organization to it. And so I want us to kind of highlight that really cool organization today and kind of start at the top and work our way down to the bottom of our digestive system. So when we talk about reflux is kind of a problem between where the stomach is and where the mouth is, and that esophagus that is in between. And so nice and simply, if you take your left hand and you place your left hand to the left rib cage area, and you kind of come around until you feel the very front of your ribs on the left side, that is actually where the majority of your stomach sits. Most individuals don't really understand that because they think their stomach is smack dab here in the middle, but your stomach actually sits up and to the left side. And that's what I really want you to understand today. When you move north of the stomach, you have a particular structure called your sphincter of your esophagus, which sits over here. So what's important to understand is that that sphincter is on the left side of your body. As the sphincter moves to the center of your body, then it leads all the way up to your esophagus and out the mouth, or actually in the reverse order when we're eating. Now, why is that important for our class today? And why is that important for anybody at home that suffers either reflux, where they get the burning in their chest, the burning in their throat, or they get that constant nagging cough that they don't know why they have it, also known as silent reflux? Well, a lot of that issue can be related to, of course, what you eat. That's not what we're going to focus in therapeutic yoga today. It can also be related to the fact that your stomach doesn't have good mobility. That particular esophageal sphincter doesn't have good mobility. That's what we're going to work on today in yoga. Or worse yet, it may be that your esophagus doesn't have good mobility. We are also going to work on that today. So there's my little anatomy lesson for you today. What I want you to do for class is have a yoga bolster, have a yoga block, have your yoga mat, but be in sitting on the edge of your chair. We are going to start in our oral pharynx, also known for most of us as our mouth. And we're going to be working through, starting with strengthening the tongue, stretching the esophagus, stretching that sphincter, especially for any of you that may have heard that diagnosis before, hiatal hernia. This one's for you guys. And then working on stretching and moving through the stomach. The latter half of the class, once we hit down to the mat, we will, of course, address some issues of mobility with the small intestines, and the large intestines is where we shall end. So find yourself in a nice, good seated position on your chair. Make sure that your feet are flat on the floor. Look that your knees kind of run down to the center of the arches of your feet. Then take your attention to your sit bones and your pelvis for me. So allow yourself to kind of slump back like you're sitting on that tailbone. Feel how short everything is in the front of your body. This is what we're going to be working on today, guys. Then allow yourself to roll your pelvis all the way forward. Lift up through your spine and see how long you can get your body. Then see if you can shorten it and lengthen it and kind of find that middle of the road. Somewhere around there, you're going to be sitting on those sit bones, hopefully equally on the left one and equally on the right one. But kind of close your eyes for a second and just kind of oscillate or weight shift your body left to right and feel that, yep, I am in fact on each of those sit bones. And then once you have that, we need to shift our weight into our base of support, which includes our feet. So from your hip joint, so do not move your pelvis, do not move your spine, simply hinge slightly forward from your hips and put some additional weight down through your feet. All right, now see if you can maintain that position of your pelvis, your low back, and your legs while we address this upper part of the body. So just resting your hands down on your thighs for a second, make sure that your shoulder blades feel like they're back and down on your spine. Work on lengthening the back of your neck for a minute and just gently bringing your throat and your chin towards one another. Now that you have that position, I want you to take a second to just allow yourself to rest your tongue on the roof of your mouth so that the tip of that tongue is touching the back of the top teeth. Now, how normal does that feel for you? So any of us that don't really have any issues with our tongue or the upper part of our esophagus or the oral pharynx area, feels very natural for our tongue to fit and rest on the roof of our mouth. But for some of us that maybe have some of those reflux issues, oftentimes we keep tension in our tongue and we push our tongue down into the base, which actually does not help anything relative to swallowing, relative to keeping all of those acids down. So we're going to begin today with a tongue exercise that is also a breathing exercise in yoga called lion's breath. So here's what you're going to be working on doing. I need you to protrude and lengthen your tongue out as much as you can. And we're going to be doing that with the exhale. So the first one, we're not going to do any movement of our spine. So keep your neck long, your chin gently tucked in. But take a nice deep inhale into your nose for me. And then as you exhale, how much noise can you get out? How far can you get that tongue out? Really creating some strength in that tongue muscle. All right, let's try that 2 more times. Don't be afraid to make a big, loud sound on that exhale. That's using your vocal folds or your vocalization, which is the upper part of your core. All right, lengthen your neck, settle your chin. Take that nice deep inhale into your nose. Open that mouth and lion's breath. All right, get one more and you laugh if you want. It's okay. We're just trying to improve digestion here. Deep inhale into your nose. Open that mouth, tongue out, and exhale. You got it, guys. Good stuff. Now, the next thing we're going to be working on are these muscles right here that lay next to our esophagus. So our esophagus is right in the very front of our throat, and it runs vertical down until it meets that thing that you saw in that picture, which is your esophageal sphincter. So a lot of times what happens to our esophagus, mostly because of forward shoulder and a lot of posture issues with our neck, is it actually becomes shorter. As it becomes shorter, one of the chief problems in our digestive system is we can get a hiatal hernia, or we can start to get that reflux because literally there's less space between where our throat is and where that esophageal sphincter is. So we're going to start at the top, stretching out through these neck muscles, and then we're going to be working on opening up through this chest area. So take your right hand. See if you can find this muscle on the right side of your neck. It is a big, big muscle. all I want you to try to do is just use a finger and a thumb, or maybe use a bunch of fingers, and see if you can get gently a hold of that muscle. Now, if there's burning, that is okay. Don't worry about that. Gently see if you can grab a hold of that muscle. And as you're grabbing a hold of that muscle, lengthen your neck, settle your chin. Take a deep inhale here. And on your exhale, do nothing other than gently turn your head to the left. Inhale, bring it back to the center. Exhale, gently turn your head to the left. Can you even hold on to that muscle? Inhale, back to the center. And then exhale, gently turn that neck to the left. Now, finally, before you let go of that muscle, hold that muscle, pull it away from your body. Can you take a nice big swallow and separate that esophagus from that sternocleidomastoid muscle? Did you feel the muscle move separate, or did they feel like they pulled together? If they pulled together, take that sternocleidomastoid muscle that you're holding, pull it to the right, and give me one more good swallow. Oh yeah, feel that tension that occurs through that esophagus muscle when you do that. All right, let's do this left sternocleidomastoid muscle. So left hand, using fingers or thumb, or just the index finger and thumb, can you actually get a hold of that? My left one's actually much tighter than my right one, mostly because I sometimes sleep on my left side. But if you can, try to get a hold of that muscle. There might be burning there. As you get a hold of that muscle, just take a deep inhale here, and then exhale, really slowly start to rotate your head to the right. Inhaling, coming back to the center. Exhaling, slowly rotating that head all the way to the right. Inhaling back to the center, one more time. Exhaling, rotating to that right, and then inhaling back to the center. Now, if you can keep a hold of that sternocleidomastoid muscle, can you do a nice strong swallow? As you swallow it, that muscle pulls inward. That means it's a little bit restricted to that esophagus. So take that muscle and try to pull it out to the left, and give me one more real good swallow here. Good job. And slowly let your hands go. Now, take your right hand and see if you can get a hold of skin on the top of your sternum muscle, on top of your sternum, top of your chest there. Left hand, just simply place it on top of the right hand. Now, in this position, what I want you to do is don't sit back on your tailbone. Make sure you still have weight into your feet. But all I want you to do is slowly start to bring your rib cage forward and push those hands downward like you're trying to pull them down between your feet. So you're not sitting back on your sternum, on your sit bones or on your tailbone, but you still feel like you can barely pick your feet up off the floor. Now push that sternum bone downwards towards the floor. In this position, try to lengthen your neck back up a little bit. Try to tuck your chin back up and feel that burning on the front of the chest. Now, in this position, here's what I really want you to do. If you've got any restrictions through that esophagus, when you swallow right now, you're going to feel your hands move upwards towards your throat. Did you feel any movement upwards? If you did, try to pull those hands forward, lengthen that neck, bring that chin up a little bit more, and give me another good swallow. That's it. Let's do one last one. Pull that sternum down, lengthen that neck up, allow yourself to give yourself a good swallow. You've got it. And then slowly relax there. Now, we're not going to do any sort of side bending or anything through the neck. It's not a neck class today. And the reason we're using a lot of swallowing is I really want you to get that length through the esophagus. Oftentimes, that's one of the main reasons we have GERD, because as our posture worsens, it gets so restricted that we start to have all of those problems. So now what I need you to do, we've kind of worked this part of the esophagus. I need you to make it down to where something called your xiphoid process is. So don't worry about finding it. It's a teeny tiny bone. But if you bring your fingers out to the sides of your ribs, okay? As you bring your fingers out to the sides of your ribs, kind of walk your fingers in until you feel like you've got a couple of fingers on both sides in the center of what you think is your belly. You're going to be pretty close to where that esophageal sphincter is. Now, if the esophagus is shortened, it's kind of up and under your rib cage right now. So our goal with this next stretch and this next swallowing and this next breathing is to pull that esophagus down and pull that sphincter down. So here's what I want you to do. Once again, do not slump back. Don't sit on your tailbone. Keep weight into your legs. But think about how you would do a sit-up in a sitting position. So very slowly, kind of let your belly fall together. Drop your chin towards your chest. Gaze down towards your heels and take a couple of fingers into that area of your belly that we just pointed out. And slowly try to pull those fingers down towards the chair. Now, from there, start to lengthen the neck back up. Bring the chin back up. You may already feel some pulling if you have a tight esophagus, if you have a hiatal hernia, if you have reflux. Don't go any higher than this. Take a deep inhale in through the nose. Are you ready with that tongue and that lion's breath? Ah. Exhale it out. Pull those fingers and that esophageal sphincter down. Lengthen that neck up. Bring that head up a little bit further. Give me a nice deep swallow. You've got it. Now, can you keep pulling those fingers down? Keep your elbows tucked in so your rotator cuff muscles don't get too tired in your shoulders. Can you now take this sternum bone and can you start to lift it up, but keep pulling down with your fingers? All right, are you ready? Give me one nice, good lion's breath here. Deep inhale in. Lion's breath. Ah. You got it. Keep pulling those fingers down. Lift that sternum up. Now give me a lengthen of the neck, a chin. Can you even look up to the ceiling this time? Can you give me a really big swallow here? All right, final thing. Can you lift your chest up like you're arching your whole back? Keep pulling those fingers down. Lengthen through the front of your neck. Can you get your chin pointed up to the ceiling? Can you give me a lion's breath? Deep inhale in and exhaling. Ah. All right, pull those fingers down towards the chair. Lift that chest nice and high. Lengthen that chin up. Give me a good swallow. You've got it. Now relax the fingers. Lengthen the neck. Slowly bring the chin towards the chest. Slowly curl the rib cage down towards the belly. Slowly drop yourself so that your shoulders are coming down towards your knees. Feel free to widen your knees at home if you need to. Lengthen the back of your neck. Slowly drop your hands down to the floor. And then in this position, gaze back behind you in your chair. Give your low back a bit of opening. Give that esophagus a little bit of shortening here. So keep that chin, gaze, and eyes towards the back of the chair. Give me a nice deep inhale into your belly. And exhale out. Deep inhale into the belly. And exhale out. Now push into your feet. Feel your glutes engage when you start to do that. Start to tighten your abdominals and slowly one spinal segment at a time. Very slowly curl yourself all the way up as you get that gradual length back to its neutral position. Shoulder blades are back and down. Lengthen the neck. All right, now we're going to go through some cat-cows in a sitting position. So full lengthening from where you had those fingers. And I really want you to see how much length you can get between here and here. So it's a major lift of the chest, a major lengthen of the neck with every single inhale. So let's give it a try. We're going to do 3 of them. And keep your hands resting on your legs so that you don't have yourself fall out of the chair here. But give me a nice deep inhale and really lift that chest up, lengthen that neck and gaze that chin up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, pull that chin to your chest, curl that chest under, and look into your belly button. 2 more times. Inhale, lengthen all the way up. Really lift that chest, gaze up towards that ceiling. Feel that stretch of that esophagus and those neck muscles. And then exhale, chin comes all the way to your chest. Tuck that tailbone a little bit under. Let that rib cage come under, chin to chest, gaze into your belly button one more time. Inhale, really lift that chest as high as you can. Lengthen that neck, gaze all the way up. And then gently exhaling, chin to chest, curl the chest under, maybe a little settle of that tailbone, gaze into the belly button. You've got it. All right. So for those that have reflux or any sort of heartburn types of symptoms, what we've done already in class is the focus of what you want to be doing. Lengthening that esophagus, stretching out through these neck muscles, getting that tongue protruded outward, really working on that sphincter. Now what we're going to do is do some mobility for our small intestines and our large intestines. So before we make it down to the mat, we're going to go over something that I like to teach a lot of my patients that have any sort of bowel issues related to frequency or constipation. And so if I go back to this picture for a quick second, your large intestines are the most outer part of your digestive system relative to your gut. They start in the bottom right side of your pelvis. So if you take your right hand and you find that right hip pointer, that's where your large intestine begins. It then moves up towards that right rib cage. It then moves over towards that left rib cage, and then it moves down towards that left hip pointer until finally, obviously, leaving out through the rectal area. So what we're going to do, find yourself in a nice wide-legged stance. We're going to do a gentle massage to that colon before we make our way down to the mat to stretch it out. So in this position, keep your right hand onto your right thigh and knee so you've got nice, good support. By the way, this could certainly be a toilet position, couldn't it? But for the sake of today, we're in a yoga class. It's just a chair. Take your left hand, please, and find that right hip pointer. Now, in this position, just slowly start to kind of poke into your belly. Doesn't matter how much muscle or fat there is, just poke inward an inch or two as you move your way up towards right ribs. Once you feel that you're poking on bone, you can stop poking. And so just work on doing that a couple of times for me, starting at that right hip pointer and moving all the way up to that right rib. Then come back down to the right hip pointer. Slowly start to poke up towards the right ribs. As soon as you feel bone, begin to start to poke as you gently move your way across until you hit left ribs. Back down to the right hip. Slowly start to poke all the way up to the right ribs, and then gently move across until you get to the left ribs. One more time. Start down at the right hip. Slowly, gently push in an inch or so, moving upwards towards the right ribs, and slowly pushing as you come across to those left ribs. One last time, but we're going to add the final part of the colon. So starting at the right rib, slowly poke with that left hand, right hip, make your way up to the right ribs, go across to the left ribs, just gentle poking an inch or two inward, now pushing downwards, get all the way down to the left hip. Start at the right hip, slowly poking inward, guys. As you poke in until you hit ribs, then gently move across. As you move across, find the left ribs and then start to slowly poke downwards until you find the left hip. So for those of you with lower digestive issues, what we just did is called the I love you massage. And so what you're working on doing, the first part is the letter I. The second part is the letter L. And then finally, the third part is the letter U. So I encourage patients to do a couple times of I, a couple times of L, and then a couple times of U. Once you've done that, everybody drop your elbows down towards your knees. Interlace your hands. Feel that right now your pelvic floor should be touching your chair at home. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin, gaze downwards towards those thumbs. Now, you're going to work on 3 of the deepest belly breaths, hopefully you've ever had. So take a deep inhale into your belly. Push that air all the way down to the pelvic floor. As you do that, that pelvic floor opens. And then as you exhale, just gently let the air come out through the nose. No major contraction of the abdominals. It's all about the inhale. Take a deep inhale in. Feel the belly expand. Feel that pelvic floor expand into the chair as you open that pelvic floor. And then gently exhale. Nothing hard with the exhale, just slow, gentle exhale. One more breath. Nice deep inhale into the belly, deeper into that pelvic floor as you feel it expand and push into that chair. And slow exhaling. Now from this position, push into your feet, feel your hamstrings and glutes engage. Gently start to push your tailbone down towards the chair. Start to slowly elongate your body up, roll your shoulders back, lengthen your neck, settle your chin, and put a smile on your face. Because I am going to promise you, if you do that regularly enough, you will become regular. So I encourage you to try that for the lower part of the digestive system the next time you may have some issues. All right, we are ready to make it down to our mat. So what I'd like you to do is to slowly lower yourself down to your mat. We are finished with our chair today. So gently take your chair and move it away from you, just so that it's not in the way of your yoga mat and your bolster and your block. And then once you're there, find yourself on your hands and your knees. Gaze back at your feet. Make sure that your feet look hip distance. Look at your knees, maybe 2 fists between those knees. That's hip distance for most of us. And then allow your wrists and elbows to lay underneath your shoulders. Index fingers are forward, thumbs nice and spread inward. Once you find this nice, beautiful tabletop position, kind of go through just a couple of tucks and tilts with your pelvis for me. So you can find that middle of the road for your pelvis, and then go through a couple of squeezes and spreading a part of your shoulder blades. So you can find that middle of the road of your shoulder blades, and then lengthen your neck and settle your chin. Now in this position, just gently close your eyes for a second and feel that you've got equal weight into your knees and equal weight into your hands. A lot of us immediately put more weight into our wrists here, which is why this position bothers us. So check in that you've got those hips directly over those knees and there's not too much weight into the wrists. And then just gently do a slight oscillation or weight shift side to side until you feel like there's equal weight into your right and your left knees, equal weight into your right and your left hands. Keep your neck long, your chin gently tucked in, so you're firing all of those back muscles. And see if you can keep your back perfectly still here. Don't let the spine move, but can you take that deep inhale into that belly and let that entire belly fall downwards towards your mat? Now, using a strong exhale through that nose, can you exhale and exhale and exhale and pull those abdominals up and in without that spine moving? Nice, slow inhale into the belly. Let the belly expand. Maybe you even feel that pelvic floor opening. Now, strong exhale, 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 pulling that belly up and in, massaging all of that digestive system and guts. One more time here. Inhaling, deep inhale into the belly. Gently let the belly fall towards the floor. And then as you exhale, 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 pull that belly up and in the spine, but don't let your spine move. All right, let's do a nice good cat-cow now. So as you inhale, let the belly and spine go down, lift the tailbone, shoulder blades go back, lengthen that neck. Can you feel the length of your esophagus today? And then as you exhale, can you pull that belly up and in, tuck that tailbone, spread those shoulder blades, chin to chest, look into your belly button. Now, from here, slowly start to sit yourself back. Stay tucked under. Gently walk your hands backwards. Get your heels as close to your sit bones as you can. Slowly drop your belly down onto your thighs. Drop your knees down onto your chest. Slowly come down onto your elbows. Rest your head down onto the floor. In this position, take a deep inhale into your belly. And exhaling out. One more deep breath in. And exhaling out. Slowly coming back up onto hands and knees. And then thinking about that digestive system, we're going to kind of work on getting the mobility of that right part of the colon first. So here's what I want you to do. Just gently walk your hands to the left side of your yoga mat. In that position, keep your hips stacked on top of the knees, but you'll feel that gentle length that occurs through the right side of your body here. Now, don't focus so much on arching and tilting your pelvis and your low back here, but give me an inhale and let your feet sweep to the left side of your mat. And then as you exhale, bring your feet back to the center. Inhaling, feet to the left. Exhaling back to the center. So hopefully you feel that stretch a little bit through your low back and your abdomen there. Inhaling to the left and then inhaling back to the center. Now here's what I want you to try to do. Slowly sink your belly down and let your belly kind of stay sunk down, your tailbone lifted. Stay in that side bend, gazing towards the left side of your mat. Now, inhale, sweep those feet over. Can you feel that stretch through your digestive system there? Exhaling, coming back. Let's do that 2 more breaths. Inhaling, feet to the left, go as far as you can. Don't let yourself lose that sink of the belly. Exhaling, coming back, and 1 more time. Inhaling, sweep to the left, and exhaling back. You've got it. Slowly allow your spine to come to the neutral position. And then walk your hands to the right side of it. So that creates a little bit of a right side bend for your rib cage and your guts. And then in that position, make sure your hips are still stacked directly on top of your knees. Keep your spine nice and neutral here, so don't arch it too much yet. But take an inhale and sweep your feet to the right. Feel a gentle stretching through that left rib cage and the guts and maybe a little bit of your low back, and then exhale back to the center. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, sweep the feet to the right. Exhale back to the center. And 1 final time here. Inhale, sweep those feet to the right. And then exhale back to the center. All right, now, can you sink that belly downward, lift that tailbone up, stay in that side bend, and give me 3 more before these wrists say, okay, I'm done. Take an inhale, go to the right. Can you even gaze back at those feet maybe? And then exhale back to the center 2 more times. Inhale, wag that tail to that right side, get that stretch to the abdominals and the left part of your colon and guts. Exhale back to the center, and 1 final time. Inhaling here, let the feet go to the right, wag that tail to the right, and then exhale back to the center, bringing the spine back up. Slowly, slowly take an inhale here, exhale, tuck that tailbone under, sit back into those heels, gently place the belly onto the thighs, chest onto the knees, gently, slowly dropping the chin down towards the chest as the crown of the head rests towards the floor. If your crown does not rest towards the floor, you can support it with your hands or a block. Going through that breathing one last time. So give me a nice deep inhale into the belly and exhaling out. Deep inhale into the belly and exhaling out. Beautiful. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Now, find your yoga bolster and place your yoga bolster in the center of your yoga mat. Once you have that, I want you to take that left part of your pelvis and place it down near the bottom of that yoga bolster. Once you're there, you gently want to allow yourself to kind of lay up and over the bolster. Now, we are going to let our heads fall towards the floor. If you've got any sort of vestibular issue, any sort of neck issue that doesn't allow your neck to go into a lot of side bending, that would be the purpose of this yoga block, in that you can just gently rest your head and not let it go into a full left side bend. Completely up to you what you choose to do. You can even support your hand with your head if you like, but please do not create a neck or a vestibular issue trying to fix gut mobility. All right, so now that you're laying up and over your bolster, choosing whatever position you want for your neck, either using the block, using your hand on your head, or allowing your head to drop all the way down to the floor. You pick your poison for you. Have your knees stacked one on top of the other. Have your shin bones lined up with the side of your yoga mat. Now that you have that position, take that right leg and straighten that right leg and bring it all the way down on the mat so that the right leg, the knee, the hip, everything is lined upwards with the spine. Now that you have that position, take your right hand, inhale it up towards the ceiling, and on your exhale, side bend it up and over your body. Now, here's what I really want you to work on now. It's really, really easy in this position just to let your pelvis roll backwards. Allow your pelvic bone to stay pointed straight forward, but take that right armpit and roll it backward. You should see and feel the most beautiful stretch through the abdominals, through that right side of your small intestines and your large intestines. Can you lengthen your right leg any further? Can you rotate that rib cage but keep that hip pointer forward? All right, take a deep inhale into your belly here. And exhaling out. Let's do that 2 more times. Nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. And one more time, deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. You've got it. Right hand, inhale it up into the air. Exhale, relax it down in front of you. Right leg, inhale it up into the air. Exhale it down in front of you. Now, slowly use your right hand on your bolster, using your left elbow and your right hand. Nice deep inhale, and on the exhale, pushing yourself up into a seated position. Once you're there, take your bolster and gently place your bolster beside your mat. Yes, we're going to do the opposite side, but we're not going to do the opposite side yet. Now that your bolster is placed to your side, but you'll have it for when we do the opposite side, gently allow yourself to lay back down on the side that you were just on. So left side of your belly is down, right side of your belly is up. Now in this position, allow yourself to stack your knees on top of your hips, ankles, shin bones line up with the side of the mat. What if The problem that you have with your digestive system isn't so much that it's tight and short, but your abdominals are just not strong enough to push the motility of the guts around. So let's work our abdominal muscles in this position. So take your right hand and place your right hand against your right thigh. Lift your right thigh gently up off of your left thigh. Have your right arm straight. In this position, relax your head down, but lengthen your neck, settle your chin, and gaze down at that right knee. Now, start to gently push the right hand into the right knee into the right hand. But imagine that your hand is always trying to push away at the same time. Feel the contraction of the hip flexors, the abdominal muscles, all of the front of your chest happening on that right side. Take your right toes and pull them up towards your face here. Keep pushing the hand into the knee and the knee into the hand as you're trying to pull that hand away from your chest or your pelvis area. Now, can you take a deep inhale into your belly and then exhaling out? Let's do that one more time. Deep inhale into the belly and exhaling out, and then relax the leg down. All right, so we got the front of those abdominal muscles firing nicely through those right hip flexors. But what if it's the side abdominals that are the weak link to your digestive system? Well, let's work on that. So here's what I want you to do. Take an inhale, lift your right hand up in the air. Take an exhale and bring the right hand all the way around your head. So support your head with your right hand. Now, you're going to try to bring your rib cage towards your pelvis here. So what you're going to try to do is to bring your rib cage up into a side bend. Don't crank too much on your head. And then bring your pelvis up into a side bend by lifting your feet and pulling that pelvis up. Can you find that position here? Can you feel shaking through your side abdominal muscles? All right, holding it here, give me a nice deep inhale into your belly and a nice deep exhale out. And a nice deep inhale into your belly. Lift that pelvis towards the ribs. Lift the ribs towards the pelvis. Exhaling out. One more breath, I promise. Inhaling in and exhaling out. Dropping the feet down. Dropping the head down. Placing the right hand in front of you on the mat. Nice deep inhale here. And on the exhale, pushing yourself up into a seated position. And let's have that fun all over again on the opposite side. So slowly grab your bolster again. Place your bolster back to the center of your yoga mat. Have it so that your right hip is somewhere near the bottom of that bolster. And once you have that position, slowly allow yourself to lay up and over that bolster, creating some extra length to the left side of the digestive system. Again, use your block if you need it for your head for any sort of neck or vestibular dysfunction. You can also use your hand if you'd like and stack your knees up on top of each other and line them up with your hip, ankles lined up with the edge of your mat. Slowly let yourself rest up and over that bolster. All right. Now, in this position, with that left leg, allow yourself to lift that left leg up and lengthen that left leg all the way out on the mat. Now, make sure that you can kind of look and see that the ankle, knee, and hip and rib cage and spine and pelvis are all in a nice straight position. That's where you want yourself to be. Now that you have that there, like I said on the opposite side, super easy for this pelvis to kind of fall backwards. See if you can keep that left hip pointer pointed straight in front of you. All right, left hand, inhale it up, and then as you exhale, bring it up and over your body. Yes, now in this position without moving that pelvis, so without moving that left hip pointer, slowly rotate open that rib cage. Slowly let that armpit come towards the ceiling. Feel that opening through the front of that digestive system. All right. 3 beautiful deep inhales and exhales here. Nice deep inhale. Maybe lengthen that leg a little bit more away if you can. Exhaling here. Nice deep inhale.
And exhaling. And one more time, nice deep inhale here. And exhaling, you've got it. Then inhaling, lifting that arm up, exhaling, relaxing it in front of you, left leg, inhaling it up and exhaling it, bringing it in front of you. Beautiful job. Now using that left hand on the bolster, right hand onto the elbow, taking a nice, on the floor, sorry, taking a nice deep inhale here. And then exhale, pushing yourself back up again. Now, taking your bolster and gently moving it again beside you and finding yourself back down onto that right side and getting rid of the bolster so that we can now, if it's not a length problem to our left abdominals, left digestive system, maybe it's a strength problem. So let's work on that now. So again, rest your head using the block your hands, whatever's comfortable for you right now. Take your left hand onto your left thigh, lift your left thigh up off of your right, take your toes and point them up, make sure that that left arm is nice and straight. Now in this position, lengthen your neck and tuck your chin in, kind of gaze down towards that left knee, and then slowly start to push the hand into the knee into the hand, and try to push the arm away as you're doing that. So feel that connection of all of those abdominal muscles, upper body muscles, lower body muscles. Shaking is a good sign, not a bad sign here. Holding that push and that pulling. Allow yourself here to keep that contraction. Push the hand into the thigh into the hand. Give me a deep inhale in and exhaling out. You guys have this. Keep pushing. Nice deep inhale in and exhaling out. Beautiful job. One more deep inhaling in and exhaling out and relaxing that leg down on top of that right leg. Now, to get the contraction that we need through those side abdominal muscles, if that is the weak link to our digestive system, left hand, take a nice deep inhale, lift it up and over your head, and go ahead and clasp your head here. So support the entire weight of your head into your left hand. Again, taking the rib cage and trying to bring it towards the pelvis as you bring the pelvis towards the rib cage. So allow the rib cage to pull up. Make sure you're not cranking too much on your neck here. And then lifting those feet and really pulling that rib cage up towards, pelvis up towards the rib cage. Finding that shortness through the side of the belly, really creating contraction, aiding that digestion of the left side of our body. Can you hold this position even if you're shaking, even if it's really, really difficult? Can you give me a deep inhale in and exhaling out? Oh, keep that contraction here. Nice deep inhaling in and exhaling out. Just one more time. Deep inhaling in and exhaling out, and slowly drop the feet. Slowly rest the hand back down. And from here, slowly roll yourself over onto your back. Now, you will not need your bolster for the remainder of class, so you can just kind of make sure it's kind of away from you. And then allow yourself to do a couple of tucks and tilts with your pelvis again. Find that middle of the road for your low back. Certainly not the focus of today's class, but if your low back issues you just might be because of lack of mobility of your guts and your digestive system. Don't be surprised if it feels better. All right, roll the shoulder blades underneath you. Lengthen through your neck and settle your chin into your throat here. In this position, just gently place your hands onto those hip pointers, so onto your belly area here. Now, just take a nice deep inhale into your belly. Feel your belly expand upwards towards the ceiling, and then as you exhale, relax it down. One more time, nice deep inhale. And then as you exhale, just gently relaxing it down. Where your right hand is on your right hip pointer. Kind of slowly fall a little bit more inward from your hip pointer. So feel where you feel like you're on your belly, you're on your guts. And then take your fingers and kind of curl your fingers under and grab a hold of your belly. Take the left hand and maybe even help it and pull all that belly tissue away from that right hip pointer. As you pull it, you're pulling it upwards towards your chest, upwards towards your throat. Take a deep inhale here. And then on the exhale, just slowly slide that right leg down. Oh my goodness. I hope you're getting the most wonderful burn at home like I am. So what if the digestive system of your colon or your small intestines is that they're stuck to your hip flexors? Well, this is what you're working on now. So keep gently pulling all of those guts north towards your belly. Keep that right leg long. Now, can you take an inhale and gently arch your back a little bit? And then can you exhale and tuck your tailbone under? Lengthen that leg. Inhale, arch your back. Exhale, tuck your tailbone under. Just one more time. Inhale, arch your back, and exhale, tuck your tailbone under as you keep pulling. Beautiful. Slowly relax the pull of your belly. Gently brace through your abdominals and slide that right leg up. All right. Place your hands back onto those hip pointers. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin, maybe even relax by closing your eyes for a second. Take a nice deep inhale into your belly. Exhaling out. Let's do that one more time. Nice deep inhale into the belly. And then exhaling out. All right, that left hand near that hip pointer, just walk it inward until it's no longer on that hip pointer and you're on belly tissue. And then slowly kind of curl those left fingers under and grab a hold of that belly tissue. I'm not calling it fat. I'm not calling it muscle. I'm just calling it tissue. You be the judge. I will not judge. Then take the right hand and bring the right hand with the left hand and slowly pull all of that belly tissue north, upwards towards your head. Now take a nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, slide that left leg down. Feel that beautiful burning through that abdominal region as you're pulling all of your guts away from your hip flexors. That is in fact what you're doing right now. Can you lengthen your leg any further? All right, let's go through some pelvic mobility. So keep pulling the guts north. Take an inhale, gently arch. You probably feel a decrease of the tension. As you exhale, pull it up more north and let that tailbone tuck under. 2 more times, just like the right side. Inhaling, gently arching. Exhaling, tucking under. And one last time for me. Inhaling, gently arching. And exhaling and tucking under. You've got it. Slowly relaxing the hands away from the belly, bracing through those abdominals, sliding that left leg right up, relaxing here again. All right, right knee, bring it up into your chest, hands around the shin bone. Take a nice deep inhale in, and as you exhale, bring that knee to your chest. Left leg, inhale, lift it up in the air. Exhale, slide it all the way down that mat. Now take a nice deep inhale. Feel the compression through that right side of your digestive system as you stretch out through the low back, through the pelvis, the gluteals. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin. With that left leg, start to push that left leg down. Feel the gluteals contract. Feel the opening through the left side of the abdominals and the digestive system here. Take a deep inhale. Keep pushing that left leg down. Exhale, pull that right knee even a little bit deeper into your chest. Now slowly relax the contraction of the left leg. Take the right knee, place it onto the left thigh, left hand to the outside of the right knee, right hand out to the side of your body. And take a deep inhale here. And then as you exhale, slowly pull that right knee over to the left. Feel the stretch to the outer part of the right hip. And then keep pulling as that pelvis begins to lift. Start to feel that stretch. Keep pulling as the low back begins to lift, and then keep pulling as that rib cage begins to lift, but that right shoulder blade stays down on the mat. Lengthen through your neck, settle your chin, and allow your gaze to turn to the right. Now, nice deep inhale into your belly here. Imagine your guts like a big wet sponge. What you're doing is wringing them all out in this position. Nice deep inhale in and exhaling out. Let's do one more wring of the guts, also known as spinal twist. Deep inhale in and exhale out. Now, slowly bring the head back to the center position, starting at that right shoulder blade. Let the rib cage come down. First, then the low back, then the pelvis, then unrotate that right hip. Place the right foot on the floor, slide the left leg up. All right, left knee to your chest, hands around that shin bone. Take a nice deep inhale here, and as you exhale, pull that knee up and into your chest. Right leg, inhale, lift it in the air, and exhale, slide it all the way down your mat here. Now, as you have that knee to your chest, start to imagine all of the compression that's happening through the left side of your digestive system, abdomen, all those guts, as you get the length through the right side. Now, as you're pulling that left knee into your chest, take a deep inhale and exhale, pull in a little bit deeper, feel that stretch through the gluteals and the low back. Right side, start to push that right leg down into the floor. Feel the gluteals contract as you get even more opening through those right hip flexors and the right digestive system. Keep pushing that right leg down and take a nice deep inhale here. And that exhale, see if there's any more pull of that left leg. And slowly relaxing your contraction here. And then gently taking that left foot to the right thigh. Right hand to the outside of the knee, left arm out to the side of your body. Nice deep inhale here. And then on the exhale, slowly start to pull the left knee to the right. Feel the stretch of the hip. Then start to lift that pelvis up. And then start to lift that low back up. And then continue as the rib cage lifts, keeping that left shoulder blade down. Lengthening through the neck, turning your gaze towards that left thumb. Again, a nice wet sponge. Imagine it being wrung out in the opposite direction. That's what you're doing to your digestive system here. Allow yourself to take a deep inhale into that belly. And exhaling out. 2 more beautiful breaths for me. Deep inhale in. And exhaling out. And 1 more. Deep inhale into that belly. Give it everything you've got. And exhaling out. Slowly bringing your head back to the center, starting at that left rib cage and gently bringing it back down first, followed by the low back, followed by that pelvis. Let that knee come upright as the hip unrotates. Place the left foot on the floor, slide the right leg up. Gently bring your right knee to your chest, the left knee to your chest. Full compression of your digestive system now. And let's make it even better. Take the knees the width of your shoulders. Take the feet with them, wind relieving pose. Think about that for a second. The only part of the digestive system we really haven't focused on, we save it to the end. Pardon the pun, I cannot help myself. But we leave it to the end. So take a nice deep inhale into your belly. Feel that entire pelvic floor expanding. And then as you exhale, pull those knees and up to the chest, compressing fully through that colon, hopefully compressing some of that air out the end if it's there and needs to go. Let's do 2 more breaths. Deep inhale in and exhaling out. And 1 more time. Deep inhale in that nose. Let the air go wherever the air needs to leave as you exhale it out. Slowly releasing your right foot to the floor. Your left follows. Keeping that spine in a nice neutral position. Sliding that right leg down to the right corner of your mat. Left leg down to the left corner of your mat. Letting your body settle for a moment as your shoulder blades rest underneath you, arms out to the side of you. Oh, what have we accomplished today? We strengthened through our tongue and our mouth using lion's pose. We stretched our esophagus, helping fix any of those hiatal hernias and any of that reflux. We specifically found our gastric sphincter and created some length through the bottom part of our esophagus and our stomach. We then went on to stretch and strengthen all of our guts. And finally, here we are, keeping our body nice and relaxed and still, ready for the rest of our day. Give this moment to allow yourself to take a slow, deep inhale into your belly. And then exhaling out. One more beautiful, slow, deep inhale in. And exhaling out. Wiggling your fingers and your toes and circling your ankles and your wrists. And when you're ready, gently sliding one leg up followed by the other, slowly letting yourself roll to your left or your right side. Rest there for a breath for me. And then on your next good exhale, top hand, bottom elbow, pushing yourself up into a seated position. Finding easy pose. Oh, I hope your belly feels as good as mine does. Hands are to our hearts, smiles are on our faces. Nice deep inhale in and exhaling out. Namaste. The highest in me salutes the highest in you. Thank you for joining me today.